Hi, it's Moochie and I'm back with another plushie tutorial for you guys. For this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a marshmallow plushie with chocolate dipped on its head. This idea was actually suggested by Brianna Smith. So Brianna, thank you very much for the video suggestion. It was a very cute idea, so thank you very much. If you have any ideas for future videos, please make sure to go leave them down in the comments. And hey, you never know, I may just make a video on it. As always, the template for this plushie is completely free. You can find it down below in the description box, so go print out the template and use it to cut out the pieces you'll need to make the plush. And with all that being said, let's get into this video. The first step is to thread and knot your needle with some white thread, and if you don't already know how to do this, that is completely okay. I actually have a video for it and I'll link it on the screen for you to go check out. Once you have your needle threaded and knotted, what you're going to do is take that white circle and then also that white rectangle, and then you're going to use the back stitch and you're just going to sew the rectangle all the way around the perimeter of the circle. So it's going to be sewn all the way around like this. Actually, it's probably easier to show it this way. Like that. And then you'll sew all the way around to attach this circle onto this rectangle. So I was actually just filming how to do the back stitch and I realized it was really hard to see how to do it when I was using the white thread. The white thread on the white material was just really hard to see on the camera. So if you can barely see it, that's not really helpful to teach you guys how to make the plush. So instead, I'm going to be using blue thread for demonstration purposes in this video. But when you make your plushie at home, make sure you use white thread so it matches the white material here. What you're going to do is place both pieces on top of each other like this, and then you're going to make a stitch through both pieces, and then you're going to pull all the way, and then you're going to make a stitch right over here, pull, and then make a stitch back where you made that first stitch. And again, pull. Just like that. And then to make another stitch, you'll go over here, pull, and then go back where you made that other stitch and pull. And then you'll just keep doing that. And as you're sewing, you're going to have to keep rotating the circle and just sewing around this rectangle piece. At this point, this is what the plush is going to look like. And then what you're going to do now is take that brown piece and you're just going to place it like this inside the plush. Just like that. And then you're going to fold this over and you're going to sew across here using the back stitch again, and make sure the two brown pieces are lining up right on top of each other when you do this. So they should be like right on top of each other. And then when you're sewing this part together, use the white thread, and then when you sew this part together, use brown thread. After you finish sewing right here, the next thing you're going to do is take that brown circle and you're going to place it right up here. And then you're going to use the back stitch and sew around to about here. You're going to want to leave an opening so that you can turn the plush inside out. This is what the plush should look like at this point. And now what you're going to do is turn it inside out. Now I'm going to be adding on these black plastic safety eyes onto my marshmallow plushie. If you do not have these, that is completely okay. You most certainly do not need them to make the plush. If you don't have them, you can skip these next few steps and instead you can cut out 2 circles of black material and glue them on as eyes when you glue on the mouth and the cheeks. To add on the black plastic safety eyes, the first thing you're going to do is place the mouth where you're going to place it when the plush is complete. So I'm going to place it right around here. Oh, actually, I'm going to place it here. And I'm placing it here because I want to place it right in the front of the back. So like this is the seam on the back. So I want to place it right on the opposite end of that. Kind of so, here, let me show you the complete one. So you see how the face is here, and then right on the back is the seam. You know, I don't want the face like over here, so the seam is like right next to it. I want it on the complete opposite end. So once you have the mouth placed right there, what you're going to do is take a marker. It really doesn't matter what marker you use, just any type of marker. And then you're just going to make 2 dots where the eyes are going to go. I'll make 1 dot right here, and then 1 dot right there. Then you're going to fold this like that, and then take some scissors and cut a hole right here, and then a hole right there. So there'll be a hole on each of those marks. Then you're just going to take one of these plastic eyes and put it through one of the holes that you just cut. And then what you're going to do next is take one of those backings for the plastic eyes. So this is what the backing looks like. And then you're just going to press this backing onto the back of this plastic eye. So I'm going to fold this up so you can see it. So here's the back of the plastic eye. So here's the front, and then here's the back. And then you're going to take this backing, and you're just going to press this on, like that. And then you'll attach the other eye the exact same way. So this next step is completely optional, but what I'm going to be doing is adding in some poly pellets. So what I mean by poly pellets, it's these right here, poly pellets, and they're weighted stuffing beads, and they're just these tiny little weighted beads. So I'll take some out so you can see them. And what they're going to do is help weigh the plush down. So by adding these onto the bottom, what it's going to do is help keep the plush to stand up straight. If you just fill it all with stuffing, it's probably going to be really hard for it to just stand up straight. It'll probably fall over a lot. So as you can see with these that I completed right here, you put them down and they stand up straight. You put them over to the side, they're going to stand up straight. And the reason for that is because I added the poly pellets on the bottom. When I add poly pellets to my plushies, I usually use a plastic spoon. I'll just scoop up the poly pellets from the bag and then just pour them into the plush. Now that the bottom of the plush is filled with poly pellets, I'm going to fill the rest of the plush up with some polyfill stuffing. Now that the plush is filled up with poly pellets and with some polyfill stuffing, the next step is to sew this open and closed using the ladder stitch. When you sew this open and closed on your plushie, use brown thread so that the thread color will match the color of the material here. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be using white thread just so it's easier to see the stitches. If you've watched my videos before, you may actually already know this, but I have struggled with the ladder stitch for quite some time now. I actually hate using it and I avoid it whenever I can. But I was a little determined to make my ladder stitches look a little bit better when making these marshmallow plushies. So I came up with a little tip that helped make the stitches look a bit cleaner. So whenever I used to do the ladder stitches, all my stitches would look like really crooked, like they would all be like turned this way versus like straight like this. So what I started doing, instead of just going right into doing the ladder stitch, I put my thread where I want the thread to be when the stitch is complete. So like I want the stitch to be nice and straight going up. So it kind of helps give some direction of where to make my stitch. So I'm going to make a stitch right here, right underneath where that thread is. And then I'm going to come back over here. And then once you make the stitch, you can just move this out of the way. It was just a guide to help make the stitch in the right spot. And then you can pull your needle. And then see, the stitch is nice and straight. And then you can pull real tight. And then to do that again, I'm just gonna pull this down here, line it up where I want the stitch to be when it's complete. Use that as a guide. And then move this out of the way. Make my stitch. And then again, I'm gonna pull this up here. Make my stitch. Move it out of the way. And then pull the thread. Just like that. And then you just continue doing that all the way to the end, and then you'll make a few knots at the end. And then actually, before I sew this closed, I have one more tip with the ladder stitch. So I like to take a wooden dowel, which if you don't have one of these, you can use a pencil or anything similar to a wooden dowel. And I usually like to push the material in between the stitches and then pull the thread. And I find that like really helps hide the stitches. This is what the plush will look like at this point. And now I'm going to be showing you how to add the little whipped cream and the cherry on the top. That is completely optional. If you do not want to add them on the top, you definitely do not have to. So just to remind you, this is what the little marshmallow with the little whipped cream and the cherry will look like. And then this is what the marshmallow without the whipped cream and cherry will look like. So it's completely up to you how you want your plushie to look like. But if you do want to add them on, I'm going to be showing you how to do that next. To make the whipped cream dollop, this is the piece that you're going to have to cut out. And then I threaded a knot in my needle with some blue thread, but when you make your whipped cream dollop at home, use white thread so that it will match the color of the material. And then what you're going to do is use the running stitch, and you're just going to sew that all the way around the center of this piece. And then just end right in the middle. To do the running stitch, all you're going to do is make a stitch right here and pull. And then make a stitch here. And then over here. over there. And then you just keep doing that all the way around the piece. And then you can do multiple stitches at once. So when you do this, you can actually bring your needle back and forth like that to do multiple stitches, and then just pull your needle. Just like that. After you finish using the running stitch, what you're going to do is pull this thread real tight to bunch up the material. And this bunched up, ruffled look just gives like the whipped cream a more realistic look. And then you're just going to pull it tight, hold the thread in place, and then make a few knots over here just to hold all the ruffles in place. Just like that. Next, you're going to roll this piece around to form the cream dollop. And then once you get it into a position that you like, you're just going to make a few stitches using your thread over here just to hold it in place. Once the cream dollop is sewn together, you can now sew it on top of the marshmallow's head. So we're just going to be using the ladder stitch and sewing around to attach the cream dollop on top of the chocolate. And just so you know, I kind of made the cream dollop with like this hole over here because I'm going to be adding the cherry right there at a later point. So all you're going to do is make a stitch through the chocolate right here, and then you'll make a stitch through the cream dollop. Nope, got caught over here. And then you'll make another stitch through the chocolate. Ah, just keeps getting caught. Pull, make another stitch through the cream dollop. Again through the chocolate. And then you'll just keep doing that all the way around. Once you attach the cream dollop onto the marshmallow, the next step is to make the little cherry. And the little cherry is actually just a little red pom-pom ball right here. And then I'm going to be gluing on this little green piece as the stem. To make the cherry, what you're going to do is pull back the pom-pom fuzz. Kind of like this. And then you're going to take that green piece, and then I'm taking some tacky glue, but you can use any type of fabric glue that you would like. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right here. And then I'm going to stick the stem right there. And then I'm going to move the pom-pom fuzz back up. And then there you go. Here's your little cherry. And then to sew the cherry onto the plush, what you're going to do is take your sewing needle, make a stitch up to where you want to place the cherry. Make a stitch through the pom-pom. And then make a stitch back down here. And then pull all the way. And then you'll just make a few knots. Then put the needle through the plush. Pull. Oop, I didn't mean for that to happen. Pull. Then take your scissors, just cut the thread. And then the last step to finishing your little marshmallow plushie is to use some fabric glue to glue on the mouth, the cheeks, and then also the dripping parts of the chocolate. And that's it for this video. My channel is filled with many other plushie tutorials just like this one, so if you like this video, please be sure to go check out the other videos on my channel. I try my best to upload every other week, so there are many more plushie tutorials to come in the future. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.